Look at this. Look at all this food I'm taking.
Are you going to eat that with your fingers?
Now, hopefully I'll have something over there.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, but now
I might sit aside of you and have some of that myself.
I'm going to have a vegan feast now.
Okay, good.
Hold it up.
Hi, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. And what is your name? Candace Wesson.
Candace Wesson.
And where do you come from, Candace?
We come from the Parker Road area in Framingham.
And, the home of champions.
Yes.
Framingham, right?
Yes.
We won't tell Vedic that, though, huh?
Right, no.
No. So this your first time here?
Yes, this is our first time here.
How did you hear of this?
We saw it on Frambours.
Oh, I see. That's good. And who's this lovely young lady aside of you?
This is my daughter Talia.
Hi, Talia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
And what school do you go to?
I go to Walsh Middle School.
Walsh. Wow, that's great. Are you happy with the teachers there?
Uh-huh.
And you like school? Well, that's great. And you came here with your sister?
My mom.
Oh, my mom. Oh, you look like sisters. You look just like sisters
She's
to
a
me.
charmer.
No, well, anyway. So, what do you think you'll be doing when you get out of high school? You have given any thought?
Theater.
What's that?
Theater.
Theater. She wants to perform.
What do you call it? A Peter?
Musical theater.
Oh, theater. I can cut this out. It's good. Sometimes it's good. Theater, huh? You want to be an actor or an actress? Oh, da da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee. What would you like to do? Sing or just to be?
Sing, act, dance. I actually just came from dance class.
You did?
Yeah.
Can you do a little step for us right here?
Sure. It's a
Wait a
pirouette.
minute. Hold it. Oh, wait a minute.
It's hard to focus it.
Go ahead. Anything you want to do. Wow. Do another one. That's great. Now come over here. You see this right here? Hold it. Look at me.
All right.
Did you get me?
Uh-huh.
Good. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Sadie.
And Sadie, is this your first time here?
I believe it may be.
Okay.
It may be, yeah.
And where are you from? Shrewsbury?
No, I'm from Billerica.
Billerica.
Beautiful Billerica.
How did you know about this place?
It was posted in the Metro West Vegan Facebook group, whatever. Not a Facebook group, but group, vegan group.
This is your first time here.
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay. Well, you think you'll come back?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's good.
Anywhere there are a bunch of vegans, I'll go.
Well, have you been vegan for a long time?
About 8.5 years.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
And you found that that's the way to go.
Oh, absolutely.
For
At 80 years old, no medications, and I feel great.
And what?
I feel great. No medications.
That is something.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy. Well, I think I'll start doing that because I'm in my 80s also.
Well, good.
Yeah.
When it's not too late to start. I started at 72.
Well, I'm glad that you told me about that.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of advantages in this world. That's how you get it. That's how you learn about them too.
And it's being kind to animals.
Yeah,
Being kind to yourself.
I'm gonna get out of your way so you can move up in the line because there won't be any food left.
Well, have fun.
And I think I'll get in line before this big bruiser over here.
Please
Yeah.
do.
I'm
Yeah.
really hungry, so
Okay, Scotty is Scott. How are you today, Scott?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
This your first time here?
I'm first time to a Taste of Compassion.
Okay, do you think you'll come back next year?
I don't see any reason why I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's me too. I'm going to leave you alone so you can get in line and don't push me over. How tall are you? 6'3"?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll move out of the way right now.
Good idea.
Nice talking on camera with you today.
All right, it's nice.
What do you want?
And
Hi.
so you're going to ask me something.
Don't worry. This
A
is not
reasonable answer.
This is not your first big rodeo.
No, it's not my
Okay.
first rodeo. That's true.
Hi, Dyke Stephan. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How about you?
Good. What are you doing here in this vegan food festival here?
I'm hungry.
Really? And
I very much support the idea. Because of the cows, I don't eat meat.
Yeah.
And I'm not much of a fan, actually, of poultry or fish. I don't like eating flesh.
yeah.
So when I saw this, I think what is going on here and kind of how we're seeing things change in Framingham with maybe, I'm not sure it's an aptitude of awareness, whatever the words might be, but it's really kind of interesting to see how the ground rules have changed, if you will, for community participation in things, being active, being interested, being smart, actually, about how we eat and what other things are sort of attached to this. I like it.
Well, thanks a lot for spending some time on camera today, Doug.
Happy to do it.
From
You know
East.
me, I'm not afraid of microphones or cameras.
Oh, come on now. This is not your first big rodeo.
That's true.
Pardon the pun. Okay,
right.
Eastleigh Farms.
Good to talk to you.
Do you still have the young heifers over there in the meadow?
The heifers are up in another part of the state, but we'll have more heifers in May.
Good. I want to be there with the camera.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Okay.
They need you. Matter of fact, I might want to have some of your video to use for some other purposes if you have some.
You get to eat, and I'll talk to you
All
at
right.
the camera.
All right, good.
I'll talk to you before you leave.
Thank you.
Might have to find a bigger room next year, so kind of make sure you get on our email list so that we can tell you where and when it's happening. So it might not be the same place, maybe we need a bigger place. As you take your time, we have the space until 3 o'clock. We'd like to start cleaning up around 2, but that's got plenty of time for socializing. But as you leave, we're not making any trash, right? So all these plates, all these cups, all your silverware, even though it looks like it might be recyclable, is actually reusable. So it all goes in the dirty dishes, which is this dish pan down here. And if you have food left over, it goes in the compost, which is right next to it. If you ended up with a paper bowl that's compostable, that can go in the compost. And then the napkins can go in our dirty napkin location right there.
All right.
So you should end up with no trash. That's the goal. So also, thank you so much for coming. Right?
Thanks for feeding us. Did anyone like the food?
So I should say my name is Mary. I'm a member of Transition Framingham and of Edwards Church, and I do things at Open Spirit. So all three. So if you have any questions, a lot of us can answer them. But one of the things you'll notice, these compostable bowls, those were bought by Edwards Church. So if you didn't put in a donation, please do so we can pay them for the compostable bowls and the space and everything. We have a company called Black Earth Compost that picks up all the compost from this church. And you can get that for your home in Framingham. If you don't live in Framingham, I think they do most of the towns now in Metro West.
They do many of them.
Many towns.
Yeah, I think there's 70 or 80 towns in Eastern Massachusetts.
So if you don't have your own backyard compost, or you do, but you're not managing it very well, and you'd like to, just make sure that everything gets compost, they will actually pick up at your house. And I use them. They're fantastic. They're way more reliable than I am. I forget to put it out. They never forget to pick it up. And it's very, very easy. And if you have teenagers who order pizza, they'll take the pizza boxes. So they can compost a lot more things than you can do in your backyard compost. So if you're interested in Black Earth compost,
meat, right?
even
Dairy, everything.
meat, dairy, paper products, as long as they're just simple paper products, can all be composted. Like I said, pizza boxes. If you have teenagers who come home from college and have like 6 pizzas, then you can get them to take that. So it's really nice. So if you're interested in Black Earth Compost, just look up Black Earth Compost or ask Mike. He's like the local rep for Framingham.
Community liaison.
He's the community liaison. I think he gets paid in
I think I made
compost.
that up.
Did they pay you in compost?
No, I don't get paid.
He doesn't even get anything. Doesn't even get free compost. He gets nothing. But anyways, talk to Mike. He can tell you all about it. But that's why we can compost these things. If you didn't put in a little donation, please do, because it does cost the church to have that compost picked up. Yeah.
I'd like to make an announcement. It's a perfect place for it. I'm Judy Grove. I was city council and chair of the environmental committee. I decided not to run again because I want to do environmental stuff. We did get passed that we're going to be charging 10 cents for bags coming next January. I've had a lot of angry emails about it, but we got it through. We gave them a whole year. I worked with Michael when we got the plastic bag ban passed, and we thought people would bring their bags, and they're not. But there's a group of us who want to bring a resolution to the city council that we truly become a green city with goals. We want to set up a sustainability committee. We did get the sustainability person position. So we're going to need 100 signatures for a petition to do that. We don't have the petition ready yet. But it's going to be, we have an idea of who we want on this committee, and I certainly want to have environmental group people on the committee. And I want to say that during those 2 years, I kept wishing I were able to come to all your events instead of the events I had to go to. So you should be seeing me. It's very positive to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Yeah, so this is a great, I mean, if you're not on our list, you really should, because I run the email, I don't have any skills except sending out that little email. So you're not going to, we can't sell your data, we don't even know how to do it, so. It's just not going to happen. And more likely.
We know what we're doing and we're not going to sell it.
Yes.
I help her with this thing.
Right, so no, we're not going to screw it up, but we're also not going to sell your data. So really, don't be afraid of getting on our email list. I know sometimes people get worried, I'm going to get inundated. You're not going to get inundated.
1 month, right?
And once a month, if that, some months we skip, and it's only when we have really fun and cool events. Or also it's a way to stay linked in to these community things, like stuff is happening in the city council. We do try to feed some of that stuff your way too. So if you're not too hooked in, it's a good way to get hooked in. So please feel free to join it. If you didn't sign up, get your name on there and make sure I can read it so I can type it in. All right, so thank you all. Thanks for coming. Tell them about the movie.
How are you today, Bridget?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. Is this your first time doing this?
No, I do this like the 4th or the 5th time I'm part of that.
Okay. And why is it so important to have something like this?
Because we just have people together and have fun and educate and fun at the same time. Educate that you can get full and get happy without eating meat and dairy. It's very important.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Framingham.
I hear a small little accent.
Yeah, it's Germany.
Okay, and how long you been in the States?
10 years.
And are you happy here?
Yes, it's very nice here. And very nice people, and we can do a lot together and have fun and work. It's good. Nice.
Do you have a chance to go back and visit anybody out there in Germany?
Yes, my daughter lives in Germany, so I visit her once in a while, and sometimes she visits me.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
And do you think you'll do this next year also?
Yeah, we have to do this next year, and we have to find a bigger location because there's so many people who would like to eat some nice food. So we will text or we will announce what will be in the future, the location, the new location.
What is your last name, Bridget?
Griffin.
Griff?
Yes.
E-N.
Yes, that's my last
Nice
name.
talking to you today.
Nice talking to you.
Okay.
Bye. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
Louisa, what makes you come here today?
What made me come here today? Well, I had to make a mousse cake with raspberry mousse and chocolate cake and panna cotta filling along with an orange jelly filling. And then I had to make these Italian vegan sausages made with pinto beans and vital wheat gluten and a whole bunch of spices and onions and garlic. And then I had to make some cheeses like camembert. They're all vegan. Camembert, what else did I make? Smoked provolone
and
cheddar, and I made a vegan pepperoni to put on these cheese plates that are on all the tables.
And what do
you think of that?
I think a lot of that. Who's this good-looking guy on your left-hand side here?
This good-looking guy
My name is Tyler.
Oh, yes, I talked to you.
Yeah.
Tyler?
Yes, Tyler.
Yeah. And I remember talking to you a few minutes ago on camera.
Absolutely.
And you have this volunteer Unity Farm,
Yes,
Sherburne,
sir.
Mass.
Yep.
Well, that's great. And,
Farm sanctuary.
It's a what?
It's a farm sanctuary in Sherburne, Mass. Yep.
Oh, that's great. And nice to talk to you about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm out. Louisa.
He said you were good-looking. He didn't say that I was good-looking.
Well, I'm not done with you yet. I mean, is there anything that you made that you can show me now so I can take a picture of it?
I think it's all the cheese butter.
There's a little bit of cake left that you can see from here.
Okay, let's go over.
Okay.
Show me anything that's left over.
Oh, and Tyler's getting a cheese plate. Cheddar, camembert, smoked provolone. Hey, somebody ate all my pepperoni.
All the pepperoni, it's me. I ate it all.
Well, that's good. You did this whole dish here.
Yeah, I did.
And a lot more other things, too.
Yeah, there's just a little piece of cake left. Right here, I made this cake. It's a white chocolate raspberry mousse cake The outside is the raspberry mousse with white chocolate, and then there are a couple layers of chocolate cake, and then the white filling is a vegan panna cotta, and then there is an orange jelly.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you to turn around because I want to take a picture of the back of all the words that are on the back of your T-shirt.
All right, well, you're not going to take a picture of my butt, right?
Got it. Okay. Vegan. It's vegan, right? Vegan. Feed the hungry. Save indigenous peoples. Stand up for workers' rights. Be kind to animals. Stop factory farms. Save 100 animals every year. End deforestation for grazing. Save an acre of trees. End grazing on public lands. Tell USDA Wildlife Services to stop killing wildlife for corporate ranchers' profits. And stop wars for resources, help incorporate rule, and live your conscience. So live your conscience. Save our oceans, save the number one pollutant of water, support a sustainable planet, think outside yourself, live compassionately, and stop the violence. Well, Lisa, it was.
I didn't even know it said all that.
Oh yes, it did a great job, and thank you very much for standing there patiently while I read all the great words on the back of your T-shirt.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I am here with the New England 99s, International Organization of Women Pilots. Yay! I want to hear all your stories. I'd love to know when you started to fly, what age, and what inspired you to start flying.
Oh, I get to start first?
Yes,
Woo!
tell me. What was it?
Okay, so my daughters were going off to college. I was looking for something new to do, and I dropped. This is kind of a long story. I won't go into all of it. But anyway, basically, I wanted to do something new, and somebody said, why don't you try flying? And I thought that sounded like a really interesting idea. And one try. I've been an artist. That's had been my career in the past. And so I thought, this could be a new dimension. This could be kind of fun. And it ended up that I took my first flight, and I was hooked. It was so gorgeous. I love the pilot who I flew with, and I thought, I'd like to do this.
What kind of aircraft were you in?
So I was in a Piper Warrior, the low wing, and that's what I flew. That was at the airport that I was. I'm in Massachusetts, and I flew that one, and I got my license a few years later. And in the meantime, because of my art background, I could see all this beauty below me, and I started taking photos of the earth below me, and eventually I became an aerial photographer, and I have my own business doing aerial photography.
Oh, tell us about your business.
So I do photos for lots of different kinds of organizations and realtors and places and people and homeowners.
What's the name of your business?
It's my name, Margot Cheel Photography. Okay. That's the name of my website. You can find me. And I've done a number of books. I've published several books, coffee table books, and one for kids called What Do You See? Finding Shapes from the Sky, because it's all about seeing. I have a big emphasis on environmentalism as well, that here's the beauty here, and I want people to see more of it, which they can from the aerial perspective, and maybe it can motivate them to do something.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Artist turned pilot and entrepreneur and businesswoman doing wonderful things. Thank you so much.
Okay,
So Stephanie, tell us when you started flying in your story.
So I was about 36 years old. My husband has his commercial rating, and I would fly with him in a Piper Warrior. And I didn't know what all the sounds in the airplane were, what the dials did, and had no idea what was going on. So I want to learn a little bit more about this. I'm a little nervous flying, so let me see what I can do. And I started taking lessons on my own, and I started taking the pinch hitter course, which is geared towards spouses who fly and try to give you an idea of what's going on in the cockpit. And it segued from there, and it just sort of ballooned. And I said, this is something that I can do myself. And I took that upon myself, and I got my private pilots in October of 2016, and we've been flying ever since. And
wow, that's wonderful. And how long have you been a member of the 99s?
since October of 2016. I joined about 2 days after I got my license.
Okay, wonderful. So, Lori, tell us about your story. What motivated you to get flying? And
I was born. I was born to fly, but I didn't get to do it until I was about 35, 36. It's just something I always wanted to do. Eyes always to the sky, and just like.
So, tell us about your first flight. Do you remember your first flight?
That I was actually flying aircraft. I called my local big airport in Portland, one of two that are in Maine, and said I want to learn to fly. And they're like, okay, come for your first lesson. And I was appalled that I was going to be flying the plane. Like, get in on the left seat and go.
What kind of aircraft were you in?
It was a 150, Cessna 150. So your basic trainer. So I did everything except land the plane, and then it progressed from there. Finally, it took about a year of flying as much as I could, and got my private certificate. And then I wanted to fly more with women and have some social connection. So I heard about the 99s, and then the rest is history, as they say.
Did you pursue further training, instrument rating, commercial pilot license?
I did not. No, I have I can't. There's an issue, but anyway, so I needed people to fly with at this point. I have to have someone to fly with because I can't get it out of my head. I can't just walk away after all the work I did to get the license, and I just keep in touch with my flying sisters of the 99s, and so my mission has been to encourage everybody that's ever had a thought about doing it to do it.
Go ahead and get out there and do it. Don't be scared. Get out there and do it. So AJ, tell us about your story. When did you start flying?
So I started flying back in 2007, and I was actually scared of flying, terrified. And I went to the State of Maine Air Show, and they had a Black Hawk helicopter demonstration, and they were explaining how difficult it was and how you can't let go of any of the controls. And I'm like, oh, I have to do that. So they had a helicopter school there, and I talked to the instructor, and he just made it sound possible. I'd always thought it was impossible before. I was like, I can't be in the military, I'll never be able to do it. So on Veterans Day, actually, I took my first helicopter flight, and it was just the most amazing, wonderful thing.
What kind of helicopter was it?
It was a Robinson R-22, so So for a person who's scared of planes, and I get into this little helicopter and was fine with it, and it was just, the people that you meet along the way and the places that you fly into is just an amazing experience.
And how long did it take you to get your helicopter license?
It took me 1 year. It took me about 50 hours of flying. Yeah, to get the private.
And how frequently do you fly now?
So now it's actually been 4 years since I've flown. Just because of the cost, it's expensive. So what I do is I save up a bunch of money like you're saving for college, and then just go do a bunch of flying till the money runs out, and then start again.
So you got to take Margot with you to take the pictures.
Right, absolutely. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. So Jan, tell me when you started to fly.
I started to fly on April 18th, 2009 was my first flight. I always wanted to fly since I was a little girl, and I lived on the flight path for Logan Airport and watched the planes go over. And someday I'm going to do this, but life got in the way. When I graduated from high school, I told my parents I wanted to join the Air Force, and they said, no, you have to go to college first, and then, you know how it goes.
So when you finally started flying, how old were you?
65.
Wow.
Where I met my current husband, who's a pilot, and he said in the group that he was a pilot, and I said, oh, I've always wanted to learn how to fly. So he took me to Beverly Airport. I started taking lessons. Eventually we got married in an airplane over the coast of Maine.
Oh my gosh, I want pictures of that. Nick, we got to get photos of that. We got to add this to this. This is great.
So I've been flying out of, learned in Beverly Airport, then I went up to Sanford, Maine, flew out of there for 3 years. Now I'm back flying in Beverly, flying for the fun.
Where is Beverly?
Massachusetts.
Thank you.
Sorry, Beverly, Massachusetts. I fly a little sport plane with my husband, and I fly an Archer, and Laurie often comes along, and we share the flight, which is really great. And it's been a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep on doing it as long as I can.
Wow, incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Olga Mitchell, so great to meet you.
But I started about 10 years later when I was 22 in college, and had 7 lessons and then ran out of money. So that was it for about 18 years. And I met a woman at Bell Labs, which is where I was working. So that's when I got my license. And then I went on and did my instrument and my commercial. And well, aerobatics is what I wanted to do. So I started doing that. So then I got my instructor's rating and taught. When I retired from the technical job, I taught for 10 years in a flight school in New Jersey.
Wow, great. So I know everybody remembers their first solo. Anyone? They're all laughing. They're all laughing. So how many took off and were lost immediately and had to come back? Anybody?
Scared.
Nobody did that.
Right. I didn't until I got to pattern altitude. And then I said, okay, I've got to look down. Well, I had gone off at a 45-degree angle. My instructor said he thought I was going on a cross country. But I felt, phew, I made it.
Right. I know we can talk about our first solo flight because we all remember that. Anybody want to share their first solo flight?
For the helicopter.
How was it?
Okay, the leaving is fine, going around the pattern is fine, and coming back, I don't know how to land it. So I'm just sitting there hovering and hovering. I'm like, I'm just gonna have to sit there and hover till it runs out of fuel. But no, I figured it out. I'm like, but right as you get close to the ground, it likes to get a little, uneven. So, but I figured it out.
Now, where was your first solo flight to? Anybody remember the airport they landed at? Okay, tell me.
Danbury, DXR, Danbury, Connecticut. So that was an interesting day. My instructor, I would take off with my instructor, and he says, okay, taxi back to the barn. I said, why? And he got out. He's like, okay, you're on your own. Okay. And I was nervous, but thank goodness they didn't tell me ahead of time that this was going to happen. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have ever gotten any sleep for the week before.